Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It's been a morning, something of a morning. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat any of this with you. I'm gonna give it to you exactly how I feel. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having a fantastic start to your day. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It helps out a lot. And let me know your take, your thoughts, and honestly, your real feelings. Your feelings, okay? In the comments down below. Let's just blow it out right from the beginning. Nintendo dropped a special apology today, as they've done in the past for Metroid Prime 4. This time though, the game in question is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. And Aonuma got up there and said, "We regret to inform you that this game is being delayed till spring 2023. Now before we get any further, I just want to say that I understand, it makes sense, take the time you need, but I am bummed. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say, it's great. A rush game is potentially bad and a delayed game has a chance to be, no, I'm just sad. This is the biggest, coolest thing coming from Nintendo this year, and it's no longer coming this year. We'll still get it, we'll still get to play it. It's not the end of the world. There are plenty of other games. I'll be able to fill my time with so much. We have plenty to talk about. Who knows what other surprises there could be. But I'm still bummed. I'm disappointed. This was the game I was most looking forward to, and I bet many of you were also super excited for this one. And now we have to wait even longer to play it. It will be a full year from now until we're playing the next Zelda game, and this will be, factually, the largest gap between Zelda games in the history of the franchise. That is substantial, that is a thing, and I don't think it's wrong to say that it kinda sucks. Now, I'll also say that Aonuma's haircut, looking so swanky, man, that guy, he's just really ready to go. He wanted to look his best, to tell you the sad news. They also dropped about 3 seconds of new gameplay where the Master Sword looks to be messed up. All right, we can't tell if it's from the past, if it's from the future, if it's just busted, if it's infected, what is going on. But we got Link's arm doing weird stuff, the Master Sword doing weird stuff, and Aonuma said that this game will take place in the skies, on the ground, and expansively beyond. Wherever else that goes, I don't know, but it does sound like this game is much more than just Breath of the Wild 1 with a sky section. It sounds like it is going to go much further, and perhaps the scope of this sequel is a lot larger and more organic than we initially thought. 6 years since Breath of the Wild 1 before this sequel releases, and they don't even have a name yet. Look, I appreciate Nintendo getting out in front of it and announcing these delays very personally, right? They have Aonuma come up there and be like, dude, you gotta tell him. No tweet, no little message board post, no bloggy thing. You gotta tell him. He's like, all right, I'm gonna get that fade. I'm gonna get ready to go. And guys, I'm sorry. We're making this game special. Like, I like how they do it. I appreciate it. And it gets out, 3 months nearly before E3, and importantly, right before the end of the quarter, so investors don't freak out. We now know that targeting 2022 just was not possible. And I have some interesting theories that I'm going to be researching on why exactly this went down. And the most obvious might not be what's happening here. I think I have my finger on what could be happening, and I'll talk to you about that later. But yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed, and you won't be playing it for a year. And I really want to know how you feel. Are you bummed like me? It's okay. Like, we can give them the time and respect them and appreciate, acknowledge the developers, and still be kind of frustrated and still be kind of bummed. This takes a huge chunk out of Nintendo's 2022 for me. I still think it's going to be a great year. There's plenty of awesome games like Mario Strikers, Splatoon, Bayonetta, Xenoblade, maybe something else in the fall now. Of course, Pokemon Gen 9, but this was the big one. This was like the Game of the Year contender. And now, this might be my Game of the Year. This might end up being my full year Game of the Year unless something else crazy comes out. But Zelda's delayed, and I'm sad. Let's switch gears to a happier story. All right, this one I just found to be very feel good. All right, a Chilean boy named Benja saved cans for 9 months and got himself a Switch in Breath of the Wild. This is just a super cool story of a young person being determined and diligent and making that happen, baby. All right, getting it done, saving cans, over 1,000 cans, recycling them all, getting, little bits of money for each one, and eventually adding that all together to earn himself a Switch. What a fantastic feeling, and I'm sure you can imagine if you were young and you really wanted to Switch and maybe it just wasn't possible to get it, was really expensive for your family, and then you put the time, the effort, the dedication, and 9 months later, after all that hard work and commitment, got it, how good that would feel. How good that would feel. So kudos to you, Benja. I'm proud of you. I think this is really fun, and I'm glad you get to play a Switch and Breath of the Wild. And don't worry, it'll take you a long time, so the delay for Breath of the Wild 2 probably isn't as big of a deal to you, so your timing is actually impeccable. Let's actually go back to Zelda for our next story though, because there's something gaining a lot of traction, and honestly, I'm surprised. I made a video this past weekend on this rumored leaked name for the game, Breath of Duality, and how I thought it was bogus. It came from Paul Gale Network, who said himself he was skeptical. It was a secondary source. He's not sure if it's accurate, and even if it was, it probably has changed since then. And now more than ever after the delay, this just can't be real, all right? Aonuma did not come out there and say, here's the name. The name is still being hidden, and so I think the delay and the time and the fact that this was never even a first-hand source, it doesn't flow off the tongue nicely. Breath of Duality just don't sound that good, and 6 years to arrive at that title, I don't know. Okay, so I cannot really comprehend why this is being picked up by so many Nintendo sites, but I guess maybe it could be they're quoting the article, they're quoting some other people. They're really like, the evidence here is very paper thin, admittedly by the source. But I guess people are really desperate for the name, and I understand, I am too. Part of me thought Aonuma would show off a new trailer today. He didn't do that. We'll be waiting for the name. Hopefully at E3, but I bet you all of my rupees that it's not Breath of Duality. Something from Sony that is super interesting and maybe impacts Nintendo. All right, we know that Xbox Game Pass is sort of the king of the castle. It's what we look towards and say that's amazing value. And Nintendo Switch Online has been trying to boost themselves closer to that. I mean, in my opinion, they don't come close, but the expansion pack has been expanding with the Mario Kart DLC, the reoccurring N64 games, and the Genesis game drop, and they're gonna probably add more as the year progresses. I like where they're headed, especially with the recent new icons, and we got the folders, doing good work. Sony now is entering the fray and bringing in their own sort of Game Pass service. It kind of exists in between Nintendo and Xbox. All right, there's 3 tiers, which is a bit complicated: a $10 tier, a $15 tier, and an $18 a month tier. And basically the $10 tier is what PlayStation Plus has been. You get online play and 2 free games. Still a nifty deal, I think that's okay. Notably more expensive than Nintendo. And I want you to remember that when we're talking about Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, Essential, Extra, and Premium, that Nintendo service, the baseline online, cost only $20 for the whole year. So the first tier is just as it is. The second tier, PlayStation Plus Extra, is that $15 a month tier, and this is going to include about 400 of the most enjoyable PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games. Now, Sony themselves have said that new releases will not be a part of this program. You know how Xbox puts out their big games like Halo Infinite and eventually Starfield day one on Game Pass? Sony ain't doing that. I guess they view their IP a bit more lucratively, and they still want to sell you Uncharted, God of War, Horizon, and whatnot. But they will be including recent releases, like Returnal is going to be a part of this program, and that game came out about a year ago. So maybe a year is sort of the time gap they want to keep. But for $15, you can download around 400 different PS4 and PS5 games, keep them on your system and play them, and they will continue to add, and they say they have every major publisher on board, so it'll be third-party and previous first-party stuff. No word on if the third-party stuff will sometimes be new or not, but I would venture to say it'll mostly be older games, recent-ish games. Then things get a little bit kooky with the PlayStation Plus Premium $18 a month tier. Here they add in about 340 PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Portable games, but the PS3 games are streaming only. The others you can download. PS3 ones you have to stream. So this is where their back catalog comes in, and this is sort of like the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack version, except this is $18 a month. Remember that the expensive $50 Nintendo Switch expansion pack that everyone freaked out about costs $4.16 a month. And Sony is asking for $18. Now, of course, that does include this 400 PS4, PS5 games, and that is a big part of the value. That is a lot. And honestly, paying $3 extra per month from 15 to 18 to get the classic games catalog, I think that's a fair price. But when you look at this over the course of a year, You're paying over $200 for this PlayStation Plus Premium in comparison to $15 a month for Xbox Game Pass, which equates to about $180 for the year, and Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack, $50. Now all of a sudden that $50 feels like we're getting Mondo savings, right? It really does seem like it is factually the cheapest on the market. I've actually found that they're offering yearly discounts, so the PlayStation Plus Premium service is only $120 a year. Only. I mean, that makes it about $10 a month, which is a lot better than $18, but these services are clearly skewed to offer you the best value if you buy the entire year up front. Now, it's still like 2.5 times Switch Expansion Pack, but it does sound a lot better than $200. $120, I guess that's much more feasible. Now, with Microsoft Game Pass being the main reason Xbox is doing as well as it is, and now Sony kind of going this route, will Nintendo do the same, and would you want them to? Would you be willing to pay $9.99 or $14.99 a month for a service that included up to 400 of the most enjoyable Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch eShop games? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think it's a really interesting conversation. So Zelda is delayed, and there will be no Zelda Breath of the Wild in 2022, and we'll wait for 2023, and maybe we'll be playing it on a different system. But alas, there is a poll to discuss, and this one blew me away as well. All right, I asked how much would you realistically pay for Nintendo Switch themes, and I thought y'all wanted themes. I thought we were all excited for themes on the same page. Apparently not. 64% said you'd only want themes if they were free, okay? Which I guess if you're already paying for expansion pack, maybe they should be. But I would imagine Nintendo wants to charge for something that is the main thing you look at every time you play your Switch, and they haven't done it yet. 27% said you'd pay $2, 7% said you'd pay $4, and only 1%, myself included, said you'd pay $7 or $10. Now I think $10 sounds like too much, but $7 for something that like affects the entire UI, maybe it's just a dumb PNG and I shouldn't really value it so highly. But after 5 years of looking at light and dark theme, I would pay $7 to get a Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 2023 theme on my Switch, or to get a Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope theme, or to get a freaking Kirby in the Forgotten Land theme with that freaking sweet theme park world number 3 on there. I would love it, and I would love to just switch up my Switch. But I'm a bit surprised that people aren't more into these themes. You guys are being smart. You want them for free. You feel like you pay for Nintendo Switch Online, and they should deliver something as simple as a freaking picture. Maybe you're right. I love having you guys around. I love talking to you and sharing this with you, and I'm curious to see if anybody is bummed about Zelda like me. In the meantime, though, life moves on. We'll be back for another awesome episode tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive, everybody. And even if the Zelda delays got you down, there's a lot of other great things in this world. The people around you, the opportunities you have, your mere existence is a beautiful thing, and I'm so glad to share this planet with all of you. Until next time, everybody, thanks again for watching. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.